You know, there have been a lot of writers who have said over the last several months, people should go to a Donald Trump rally to understand the energy of the crowd and Donald Trump. It's not what you see at a Biden rally. That was something else. That was some real energy there tonight.
That was a fired up group of people. It was so much fun to be in the room with all of those folks. Gave me energy, gave me strength, and it made me proud to be a Michigander. It was good.
And the president had said, you know, he's got to get out there and make the case to voters. Between the event at the diner, which was an unscripted event, it was not on prompter, and this speech, this rally, is it your sense he's doing that?
Let me tell you, this was a defiant, strong President Biden who came into that room ready to tell folks, A, all about Donald Trump, which I appreciated, and B, about his plans for his next term. And I think that's what folks wanted to hear. The folks here in Michigan were fired up to hear it. The folks in that room were so excited to hear it. It is exactly what folks have been asking him to do. If we stop moving those goalposts, I think we should be satisfied that this president has the strength and stamina to do this work.
Let's examine what you just said. If we stop moving the goalposts, tell me what your meaning of that is in this context.
You know, we keep hearing we need to see him do a press conference. We need to see him do an unscripted event. He's doing all of those things and doing them incredibly well. And we need to just let Joe Biden run this race. We're going to win it.
Let's talk about Michigan. You did not have the governor there. Elissa Slotkin is in a tough Senate race. She wasn't there. Representative Hilly Schultzen, who represents Gerald Ford's old district, was not there. What's your case to Michigan Democrats about getting behind Joe Biden in a very obvious way?
I have to say, Joe Biden laid out the case himself today. He laid out the things that he is going to do in the upcoming term. He talked about things that are important to Michiganders, things like medical debt, erasing medical debt, things like raising the minimum wage, things like the PRO Act, of course, the gun control, the abortion bills that he's going to do on his first days. All of those things are the things that we believe here in Michigan are important parts of our platform and important to what we need to do as Democrats and need to do as Michiganders. But also, we have to lay out, and the president did this tonight too, the contrast, the difference between this president and his administration and the work he has done and who Donald Trump truly is and the things that Donald Trump and Project 2025 stand for and the danger they pose to this country. And we are in good, strong, safe hands with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And with Donald Trump, we're back to chaos, and we cannot go back to chaos.
And Project 2025, which you bring up, which is a remarkable document that we just had somebody on Alex's show who said, you know, the more you read it, the more you'll want to run the other way. Hey, I want to play you some sound from a Michigan Democratic voter. She's a 71-year-old woman. Let's listen to her together.
Love that man. He's done more for black people than any president I know. He's been a great president. I would love for him to do 4 more years. I really would. I really would. I almost feel like a traitor, but it's nothing personal. But this country cannot let Trump win. We just can't. Like I said, I'd vote for 2 dead flies with the wings pulled off before I would vote for Trump. But it's nothing personal to Biden, but we can't let that man win. We just can't. That would be the end of our country as we know it.
Talk to me about that. She loves Joe Biden. There's no question. And a lot of people love Joe Biden who don't think he should run. But she's saying she will vote for Joe Biden. I don't know that the media necessarily knows that people like that exist, or at least exist in big numbers. What's your take on it?
Here's the thing. She said all the things that she needed to say about Donald Trump and the danger that is Donald Trump. And I'm here to say that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are our best bet for stopping Donald Trump. We are in July. We have built a strong program here in Michigan. We've been organizing, obviously, here in Michigan since, frankly, after the loss to Donald Trump in 2016. We have a strong ground game. We're knocking the doors. We're making the phone calls. We're doing the work we need to do. What we don't need to do is slow down that progress or stop it midstream. We need to keep going. We need to keep working hard and doing the work we know we need to do to win here in Michigan and all the other states. That's what we're doing here, and that's what we're going to continue to do behind Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
Let's talk about Michigan. 2020, Joe Biden beat Donald Trump by 150,000 votes. Before the country was mired in this particular discussion, there was some issue in Michigan. Dearborn has a significant Arab American population. It became America's first Arab majority city council last year. Dearborn voted 74% for Joe Biden in 2020. That was a 30,000 votes. It voted uncommitted, essentially, in the primary. This was that protest vote in Michigan and Wisconsin where people are upset about Israel policy. Joe Biden brings it up at every rally and every interview that he talks about. But that's an actual issue in Michigan that has to be addressed in order to get people to not sit on their hands and come out and vote for Joe Biden.
It is indeed. And Allie, we've been having our conversations with our voters here in Michigan since that war broke out, and we're going to continue to have those conversations. We've been working hard to make sure that folks understand the difference between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, and that while we are understanding of their disappointment with where this administration is on certain policies, what we do know is that Donald Trump is not the answer. Donald Trump is not a better person for the issues that they care about than Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are. And those are the conversations we've been having and will continue to have. We've been working hard. We will continue to work hard. And we've seen some movement in Joe Biden's policies. And I think a lot of it is because he is listening to folks like the folks in Dearborn who are speaking up and should continue to speak up about the things that are important to them.
Michigan Democratic Party Chair Lavora Barnes, we thank you for your time tonight.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Hey there, MSNBC fans. I'm Luke Russert, and be sure to join me, Rachel Maddow, Jen Psaki, Lawrence O'Donnell, Steve Kornacki, Joy Reid, and many more September 7th in Brooklyn, MSNBC Live Democracy 2024. Click on the link for ticket information. We will see you there.